it's not about you, it's about me. No, we're joking. This is actually not a humorous speech, so I shouldn't start it out in a humorous. I had a lot of the introduction kind of built it up that I'm going to tell a lot of jokes and things like that. But actually, it does have its humorous portions. Can anyone tell me what's the most important part of any presentation? The most important part of any presentation?
The hook.
Message.
Message is important. It's not the most important, but that's important.
Organization.
Organization, that's important.
Time. Getting their attention. The hook.
Getting the audience attention. That's getting closer.
Delivery.
Delivery, that's close.
The message.
That's also important, but that's not it.
The end.
Well, it depends on how you view this.
Connecting with the audience.
That's very close. The answer is the thought process in your listener's mind. That's the most important part of your presentation, because if you understand that, then you understand how to connect with your audience. And if you understand how to connect with your audience, then you'll be able to answer or solve whatever problem that they're looking for solutions, solve their problem, or if they're looking for entertainment, to entertain them. So to connect with your audience, you need to understand the thought process of your audience. And that actually has a lot of implications. So, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, it's not about you. If you stop thinking about yourself, and if you're giving a speech and you're nervous about it, a lot going on in your head, maybe a lot going on in your stomach, abdomen area, you're very tense, you can get rid of that by just thinking of the audience, by focusing on the audience and trying to figure out how they're going to think, how they're going to view what you say. And this will help to relieve your nervousness, because you're no longer focusing internally, you're focusing externally, outside of yourself, onto your audience members. And this will not only allow you to focus and package your message to your audience, but also it will allow you to take your speaking to the next level, because you'll no longer be, a lot of people do focus on themselves and worried about things going on with their speeches. So if you start focusing on your audience, that really will be helping a great deal in terms of your speech delivery and a lot of the other things we talked about, organization, because you'll understand, as you're trying to understand your audience, you'll realize what the message should be and what they're going to take away from it. Now raise your hand if you're interested in becoming a professional speaker or speaking in some professional capacity. So raise your hand if you're serious about someday becoming a professional speaker. Okay, I'll rephrase the question a little bit. Raise your hand if you record. No, not yet. Hold on. Raise your hand if every time you speak you record yourself. Okay, not as many hands, but actually it's a pretty good number. If you want to be a professional speaker, you definitely should record yourself. That's something that I've been doing for a while, even before Toastmasters, but I didn't know how to use the information before I came to Toastmasters. And having been in Toastmasters, I now can process it better. A lot of people say, well, I hate the way I sound, I don't like the way, I can't stand to listen to myself or watch myself. Well, guess what? We had to listen to you, we had to watch you, so if you can't stand it, how do you think your audience feels? So, it's really, but sometimes people feel self-conscious about looking at themselves. You'll get over that, actually, if you look at yourself long enough. I can assure you that. Also, if you are willing to record yourself and listen to yourself to improve, then why should anyone else bother to listen to you? Because you're not willing to put in the time yourself to improve. And I should mention that a lot of this comes from Darren LaCroix's CDs, that I kind of inspired from those CDs. And he actually says that he has a closet that's just filled with videotapes, audio tapes, at that time it was just VHS tapes, and probably cassette tapes at that particular time, that really helped him to get to the level that he was a world champion of public speaking, to get to that particular level. And he's a huge proponent of recording yourself. And there's nothing more powerful, nothing that I could say, an evaluator could say, a coach could say, a mentor could say, that is more powerful than you listening to you. Nothing more powerful than you listening to you. Nothing can be more critical or more inspiring than you listening to yourself. Now, if you want to be a professional speaker, what issues should you what are some of the issues that you have to deal with? Well, first is why you? Why are people going to pay you to talk to them? That's one issue. So you have to figure out what you have to offer to an audience. Then you have to figure out who's going to pay. Who is your target audience? If you're talking about something that's so obscure that there isn't any audience for it, then probably you want to find a different topic. However, if you're going to talk about how to make $1 million in real estate, you may have a target audience for that. It's more probable than if you're talking about the Arctic ice caps and the temperatures up there. And then, if you determine your target audience, you want to figure out how do you reach them. How do you actually get in front of your target audience? Because that can be fairly hard to do. Because it's not, in some cases, it's just not an easy thing to do. So the whole purpose of these educational moments is to kind of present information to share information with other members of the club that I've gathered from listening to Darren LaCroix's CDs. And what I wanted to present today was the concept of focusing on your audience, recording yourself. And I should mention at the last presentation, to give an example of why it's important to record yourself, I found that I had a certain nervous habit that I was doing, looking down, and I counted 44 times that I went through the whole thing and just checked it off how many times. So that is something that I said, okay, I'll try better this time. Hopefully I can get it below 44. That's once every 10 seconds. And also the last thing is to discuss some of the issues. And basically the idea is it's not about you, it's about what you have to give to your audience. Madam Toastmaster.